everybody. I am Tommy, and this would be The Love Boat. What's happening? I went a little early. So for all of you that got here early, you're going to hear the story that Johnny Scoville wanted me to tell people. And because it sounded bad too when we were talking about it. But what happened is, at the time I was working, we had a telemarketing room. I also worked for the same company as a public speaker, so I was kind of double dipping with them. And Johnny ran their phone room. It was a pretty good sized phone room actually at the time out in Nevada. And the secretary was the meanest woman on planet Earth. I'm not joking you. The secretary of that place was the meanest woman I had ever met. We would call and ask about whatever question it was. And it was never like we were pestering. You know, it would be Friday and the cash hadn't hit the account yet to make payroll. And you'd call in and she would curse at you and just a really nasty woman. And the one time I met her in person, she had gotten really liquored up and, hit on me a bit. She was a little bit older than me. She was a heck of a lot older than me. Anyway, one day in the early days of cell phones, I butt dialed this woman, back when butt dialing was still something that you could do fairly easily. Fortunately, Apple has eliminated the butt dial unless you're just really screwing up. But I spent 14 minutes talking about the secretary of this office and how I just was not a fan. And Johnny Scoville helped me out by asking questions, which was a great idea. Why is he gonna like her? And went on for a little bit more. I said, and the one time I met her, and I told the whole story. Imagine hearing a story like that about yourself. So I woke up my boss at about 4 a.m. because I realized that I had been leaving this on the message machine at the office. And these were in the days of tape. And Johnny kept going, there's no way the tape recorded 14 minutes. You know, she's not going to hear the part you know, where you were talking about that. And because I didn't start off really bad, but it got really bad. So I woke my boss up and I said, you got to get down to the office before there's any chance. Hey, back, have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. And I was like, you got to get in there and pull that tape out or erase that before the secretary hears it. Like, this would just be really, really bad. And he said, how about are we talking? And I'm explaining it to him. And he's like, all right, I'll get up. And he was not happy because it's his office. But he cruised down there and got there with an hour to spare. And when she got there, he played the entire thing for her. It was kind of a bummer. The whole thing didn't really work out as I was. I guess he didn't like being woke up in the morning, but it was not one of the shining spots of my life. I'm glad that the butt dial is a thing of the past because I had actually done it once or twice, but that one was just awful. One time I told my mom how irritated I was at a coworker who abused my employer by making excuses chronically as to why, let me get that up there in a big one, as to why she never came to work on time, but actually sent it to the coworker. Oh, lovely. You know what? There's nothing worse, and everybody's done it. It's one of those things that absolutely everybody has done. So let me get to the meat of this thing since the gang is almost all here. So I've missed a few shows, and I'll just be honest. I was running on empty again. The emotional whiplash effect of going and seeing these guys, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. But walking away feels a lot like when someone visits you at prison and takes off. I mean it. It's there's a hangover after you leave, an emotional hangover where it's just heavy. And on top of that, high weirdness has been following me around for the better part of a week, and Johnny as well. And that's about all I can say because it'll just sound insane, and I'm not really trying to go there. But the thing that I really wanted to get to was a long time member of the boat, super long time member of the boat, left a comment and said, I'm really sorry I had to unsubscribe. Everything that comes out of your mouth is negative. And you know what? I'm past the age of consciousness and righteous rage, right? Found that in this business, just for surviving is a noble fight. And normally that doesn't kick me. This one kicked me. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Have you caught a morning show? You know what I mean? Like, but I've come to realize that the automated system that we use to make shorts isn't doing the boat a service. I think that this is one of those situations where people were looking at shorts, and a lot of times these shorts aren't getting looked at really well before they put up, and it sometimes puts out Because if you take me at any given point during a rant, it's very possible that what they take out isn't at all what matches what I was talking about. Let me give you a perfect example. If I'm talking about the hypocrisy that goes on with allowing victims to be victimized, allowing human beings to be victimized for the purpose of the greater good. You know, we talked about how above the Mossad, it says, by any means necessary. And I started to talk about this in one of my rants, and I said something along the lines of, in their mind, the ends justify the means. So if you've got to let 1,000 young women get victimized, it's worth it, right? Because you're going to be able to get these people to vote that way. Or you're going to be able to use the leverage on a political leader to make sure that a war doesn't break out. So if you got to sacrifice 1,000 girls or 3,000 sailors in Pearl Harbor, right? If it cuts off right there, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it sounds like I'm a guy that says, hey, go ahead and victimize as many people as possible, as long as we can stop a war with it. These automated systems aren't human. And a lot of mistakes get made of trusting this thing, and I'm not going to anymore. I'm uncomfortable with the messaging of my channel. We're going to do a 4-year anniversary. We missed it on the 31st of July. I was kind of in a transitionary period on the 31st of July this year in my quest to become Ecuadorian. I was rather busy and rather put out. But I've talked to some people, and we're going to be reshaping this a little bit. And for the better, I assure you. But we're going to do some things that are going to be a little bit different. If I feel the need to do a rant, I probably am not going to do them live anymore because my live audience, I'd like to give my live audience an opportunity to choose whether or not they want to stick around for something like that. It's here's the deal. It took 55 years for me to come to the realization that I've always been a fairly gifted speaker. And I met somebody who said to me, my goodness, what a gift. And people don't say stuff like that. It makes you really uncomfortable. But I said, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And he had just seen me talk to the 32 guys at the rehab center. And he said something to the effect of, have you been using your voice like that your entire life? And I felt like I got hit in the stomach with a sledgehammer. Suffice to say, this is not what I've been doing with my voice my entire life. And as much as there are things I really want to rant about, I want to be very careful in what I use this voice for the rest of my time that I'm around. And if it means I lose subscribers or it means that I make less money, I feel like there's something that I ought to be doing. That's right. I'll be singing Kumbaya and maybe even holding hands. And it's not going to make a lot of people happy. But you know what? I'm only trying to make one person happy. So, and that's not me, for the record. All right, folks, listen, this is going to be a short one because I've got a lot that I've got to get prepared for. If you miss tomorrow morning's show, you're going to miss one of the best shows I've ever done. I'll be really honest, folks. I don't prepare for 99% of these shows. I don't need to, right? I've just been talking about this stuff forever. Tomorrow's show is prepared for, and it's something that I'm pretty excited to fire up. This is why you're not a negative force, Tommy. You're too smart to be negative. Thank you, Jeremy Fowler. What a kind thing to say. You know what? I'll take someone calling me smart. I need about 60 of those a day to balance out the rest of them. So I'll take it. I really appreciate that. Tommy, just be you. Those of us who like you will always be around. You know what? Here's the deal. I'm really getting to the point where I don't care if there's anyone else around. And maybe that's not the greatest attitude to have if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel. But you know what? You can't please all of the people all of the time. So if what I do leads in love, how's that for a way to say it? Right? Can't offend anybody with that. If everything that I do going forward pushes the agenda of love, then we're good. Audra says, Tommy, when you're pissed about something, you're just being real. That's what makes me trust you. Well, I appreciate that. And here's the deal. I rail against things that need to get railed against. I don't need to make shorts out of those videos. Statistically speaking, there's a large group of audience that finds, that watches 90% of your shorts, but don't really catch a lot of the lives. Like they'll pop in if there's a 60-second clip of me talking, but they're not going to stick around for 2 hours. And if all they hear are snippets pulled out of rant shows, I may sound like every time I open my mouth, I'm pissing and moaning. And that's really not it's not what I'm looking for going forward. We're also going to be doing more content, not less. As it turns out, when I do the really positive content, I'm a much happier individual. And if that means that I got to work a little bit harder or do more shows, well, it'll give people an opportunity who can't catch lives to maybe catch lives. It'll also keep me much more focused on what it is that I am trying to do. Have you heard about Aaron Ghost Adventures, wife putting a hit out on him? No, I have not, Rocket Queen, but I will look at that because I know who you're talking about, actually. And is this recent? Hold on one second. This is the only way I remember things, folks. The whole taking notes thing, that waved bye-bye in 1984. Shortly after Dylan and the Dead in Foxborough, that whole wing of the brain went. Hell of a concert, though. Not lying. Good show. No, a computer manages my shorts. How's that? It's been done by a computer. It shan't be for long. I'm very unhappy with how the computer has been. It has sort of changed how this shorts are supposed to paint an image of what the channel is, so that people that don't take the time to go and check you out might check you out in shorts. And in the process of doing so, they'll go, that's the kind of channel. Now, I have picked up people that way recently because they happened to catch shorts that were made after a show that I did like after the rehab or a show that I did in the morning. But a lot of times, the ones that are going to get more views because they're far more controversial is where I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein, or I'm talking about gun control, or I'm talking about an issue that pushes the buttons of people. I'm happy to see you've changed your focus to what you originally started. Thank you, Renee B. I am too. You know, positive content, deliberate direction, and never-ending support is what real addicts need. You know what, Roxanne? That was well said. Holy hell. Wow, that's a great comment. You guys catch that? Positive content, deliberate direction, and never-ending support is what real addicts need. 100%. It's 100% true. And you know what? I'm going to be giving you all some statistics going forward. Some of you are going to hate them because, honestly, they just point in directions that people might not like. But sadly, I looked them up, so now you're going to have to hear about them. I'm not going to do it today. Today, I really just wanted to come on here and say that I apologize for missing the last two shows. I will be back in full swing tomorrow morning. I was running on empty, folks. Running on empty. Nobody? Running into the sun. No, all right, no love. I got it. It's Sunday night. Tommy, something real grabbed a hold of you and squeezed that Scientology crap right out of you. Wow. You just 13 minutes and 42 seconds in, you get the L. Ron Hubbard reference. That is funny. Jackson Browne, one of the best concerts. I'll leave with this story. I had somebody, this is a true story. I had a kid that I had been doing drugs with, and not the brightest bulb, but he said, "Do you want to go out to Red Rocks?" And I had never seen a concert in Red Rocks. It's one of the greatest venues in America. And I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Who's playing out there?" He goes, "Some dude that does covers." And I'm like, "And when we buy the tickets there?" He's like, "I got tickets." And we were pulling into the parking lot when he handed me the ticket. And it was Jackson Browne Unplugged. This was all acoustic. And he had like 50 guitars on stage. And he would just go grab another one. He never tuned the guitar, never farted around, just went from one to the other. And I mean, played for hours, hit every great song. And I said to the dude, I was like, "This is Jackson Browne." He's like, "Yeah, I understand. He does a lot of covers." I said, "No, bro. This is Jackson Browne." All right, folks, come by tomorrow morning. Check out what I'm doing. I think you'll dig tomorrow's show. Or my name isn't. What is it? Tommy Scoville. All right, people. Between now and tomorrow morning, put a lot of love in your heart, huh? You saw that show in Foxborough freshman year of high school. Stop. Did you really? We were at the same concert. It was 4th of July, Dylan and the Dead. Unbelievable. All right, people. We'll see you on the next.